Welcome to the first session of the 5-part educational series about how to unlock the power of social purpose for your business. If you attend or watch the recording and follow along with each session, using the tools provided on the BC Chamber of Commerce landing page for this series, you will be equipped to define and implement your company's unique social purpose. I'm Mary Ellen Schaafsma, founder of Purpose Pathways Consulting, Purpose Advisor, and Canadian Purpose Economy Project Ambassador. I will be your facilitator for this series. As I was preparing, I was sort of imagining who might be here and why might you have come? Perhaps you know only a bit about this thing we call social purpose business, and you're curious to find out more and understand how it might pertain to you. Maybe you're here because you own a business and you're feeling good about its financial success, but wonder if there are more ways to contribute through your business to the good of the world beyond profits. There's a chance some of you are here because you work for a company and you sense its inherent positive influence on society, and you would like to help them find out how to tease out its articulated purpose, make it explicit, and then help the company to use it as an innovation decision lens, maximize its impact, and grow for good. Or perhaps you're looking for ways to ensure your business remains strong, resilient, and relevant in this ever-changing world we are experiencing. And there's likely many other reasons, and whatever reason you are here for, welcome, and we hope you receive what you're looking to find. Our vision for this series is that more businesses of every size and sector feel inspired and equipped to get crystal clear on the societal reason they exist and begin to activate on that purpose so that they power more good in the world by doing business to succeed as a business and grow the ongoing good they're capable of. Our sponsors are Coast Capital and the Canadian Purpose Economy Project, to whom we're extremely grateful for the ways they're growing the good in business. To create this series, unless otherwise specified, we have drawn on the many resources created by the United Way of British Columbia's Social Purpose Institute, Purpose Pathways Consulting, Coro Strandberg, a leading social purpose expert, and the extensive library that the Canadian Purpose Economy Project has produced and curated. Defining and implementing a purpose is a process, and it takes dedicated work and time. Done right and authentic to your company, it is a growth driver and increases impact. However, done incorrectly, it can be a liability to your business. And so that's why there's a rigorous roadmap to developing and implementing your organization's authentic and effective social purpose. So to develop your social purpose, looking at this roadmap, first, you need to educate yourself as you are today, your leaders, and your teams. You need to research and really take a deep dive into your company, what it brings to the world, find out internally and externally how people see you. Define and work through a process of consolidating the inputs you gathered in the research phase to clearly articulate your unique social purpose statement and underlying narrative. And then to implement it, because it can't just be a tagline tacked on. This is not a marketing or branding tactic. It has to become core to your business. So you need to create an implementation work plan to keep purpose implementation on track. You have to embed it in all you do so it becomes a meaningful reason you exist. And you will discover as we go through this series that there is no way any single business can achieve their social purpose alone. So you need to figure out how to collaborate, who to collaborate with, and build and foster partnerships to help you bring your purpose to life. And lastly, reporting. We all know how important reporting and transparency is to ensure your stakeholders are informed about your progress so that you don't have that perception of purpose washing. So we'll be using this roadmap here throughout the 5-session series, walking you through the ins and outs of getting these activities done so that by the end, you will have defined your unique purpose and be ready to embed it across your business and collaborate with others to bring it to life. So this first session, we'll cover the items in the bright blue box here. Educate. We'll discuss the importance of educating yourself, so welcome here, as a purpose champion, and become equipped to talk about it with your leadership and peers. A first essential step for you and your leaders is this education on the topic, because this is something new and emerging and not well known, and it's easy to confuse it with the other things we're much more familiar with. So that full understanding of what social purpose is and isn't is critical to your success. So in this session, that's what we'll make clear: what it is and isn't, how it's different from all the other business activities we are familiar with and have gotten used to, what the business case for social purpose is. This isn't just good for society, it's also good for business. And a few examples to give you an idea of how other companies are defining and living out their purpose. And so this session will give you the foundational information you need to help you have conversations about purpose in your organization. So let's jump into it, shall we? So obviously, we all know that organizations have a purpose. Nothing was started for no reason. So whether or not they've clearly defined it, usually businesses have one of these three here, focused on either profits, products, or customers. So some companies have a purpose to have the happiest customers or the best products, or to make maximum profit for shareholders. And these aren't bad things, and they don't go away. But some other companies, and more as we will see, have a purpose to create a better world, a social purpose. And that, of course, is the focus of this webinar series. And when you think about it, when you're talking about the various types of purposes, just for a moment, ask yourself which type of purpose will most resonate out there in society. Great products, that's good. Profits, of course, they're necessary. Happy customers, for sure. But what's going to inspire others to come to you, to be attracted to your business as employees, as customers, as partners? I would dare say it's having a social purpose, how you are making the world a better place. So what do we mean exactly when we use the term social purpose? This is the definition here that the Canadian Purpose Economy Project uses, and it combines three most established concepts globally, pulling them into one. So a social purpose business is a business whose reason for being, it's existential, is to create a better world. Its purpose is to profitably solve the problems of people and planet without causing harm to either. It is the company's strategic, optimal contribution to long-term well-being for all. And all of these boil down to a purpose to create a better world by doing business. You know, I always say a lot of companies, if not all, do good things in and for their communities, and that is good. The difference is with social purpose, it is a strategic approach to doing business that unlocks the capacities of the whole enterprise to generate the most good in a way that the business optimally and uniquely can. So it looks at what the business brings to the world. What do you do already? What are you best at? And then what is the problem upon which you can have the optimal impact? And that way it goes beyond philanthropy, volunteering, pure altruism. Those are good things. And it gets embedded at the core of your company so that by doing business, you are doing good. So it's good. The beauty of this is that it's both good for society and good for business. So now let's cover what social purpose is and isn't, and we're really going to cover off all the things you may be familiar with and how purpose differs from that. So common misconceptions, what it is and isn't. Social purpose is, again, the why you exist as an organization. It's not what you do or how you do it. Those are important, of course, but that is not what purpose is. is core to your business model. It guides your strategy and operations. It's not a strategy or a component of operations. It guides those things. It's not a program, goal, or strategy initiative. It is your North Star. It's like a compass that you can always look to and pursue as you're doing business in this turbulent world to help you stay on track, stay focused on why you exist anyways, and align everything you do with that. Again, it's not philanthropy, it's not brand, it's not a cause campaign or a tagline. It is aspirational. So it builds momentum and reveals what's possible. It's not business as usual. It's not status quo. It's not what's possible today. Because if you don't set a lofty aspirational goal, you set something that you can reach, that's all you're going to reach, right? If you set something that's loftier and aspirational and almost unattainable, you're going to go farther faster. And not to say anything on the right side in the right column are bad. Those are good things. And you'll probably continue to do most of those things. But now they'll be guided by your social purpose, and all your business activities will align towards the impact you want to create in the world while doing business, while earning a profit, while creating happy customers and shareholders and good products. So social purpose, not about charity, not about corporate social responsibility or marketing. It is a strategic approach to your business. Often people have trouble sort of picturing or understanding what a social purpose might look like. These are some real quick examples. First, global companies we're all familiar with, and then we'll look at some more nationwide ones. Nike, to move the world forward through the power of sport. And they state that they're leveling the playing field, doing their part to protect our collective playground and expand access to sport for everyone. And I'll tell you a little more about their story later. Danone, a global food producer, they use their focus on bringing health through food to as many people as possible by developing affordable, nutrient-rich dairy products such as fortified yogurts and milk, and they partner with local dairies and farmers in East Africa to produce fortified, nutrient-rich foods to improve health outcomes in East Africa. So everybody wins. Unilever, huge brand, their purpose is to make sustainable living commonplace. And it's a modern continuation of its original purpose way back when, to make cleanliness commonplace. In the late 19th century, the founder invented sunlight soap, an effective hand soap designed to reduce illness through widespread commonplace hand hygiene. And today they've continued that through. And again, I'll tell you a little bit more about them later. In Canada, Canada Goose, you may know that they make winter wear that stands up to Canadian winters. And their purpose statement kind of has a clever turn of phrase, ripping off keeping people warm, but giving a clear message that its intent is to help combat climate change. So you can see how the business might benefit from this. And BMO, the Bank of Montreal, you know, when I read this statement, to boldly grow the good in business and in life, the idea that comes to my mind is that BMO thinks that finance and business is a part of a fuller life. It's not the end, it's the means. And they will help you leverage the two to achieve the good life you aspire for. And lastly, Etsy. Their platform helps sellers turn their creativity and ideas into successful businesses and connects buyers looking for handmade, vintage, and unique products, enabling a transaction with a human touch. So there's some examples of what purpose statements look like. Clearly, they don't say it all. There's more to be said about this, but what they do is send the key message of the intent, of the impact they want to have on the world. And then as they move through their business, they have an underlying narrative to flesh out what the statement means, as well as their activities. It will become clear what their purpose means to them and how they're living it out. So back to looking at how social purpose differs from some of the things we're much more familiar with and have been doing for quite a long time. People sometimes conflate social purpose with a few other initiatives or activities like corporate social responsibility, CSR, ESG, environment, social governance, and even becoming B Corp certified. Social purpose differs from, but relates to CSR, sustainability, ESG, and B Corp in that those strategies or means to identify and manage social and environmental risks and improve the business's social and environmental performance. That's what CSR, ESG, and B Corp do. They're looking at what the company is doing and how to measure it and how to report on it. A social purpose, again, is the company's reason to exist, its existential why. So it drives and informs those things. Having a social purpose creates that focus by which you can decide the best route to take in terms of CSR, ESG, those activities. And by aligning those with your social purpose will help you accelerate your purpose. Now, another thing that many organizations confuse with social purpose, and sometimes they call their social purpose a mission or a vision, but to be clear on the difference between those things, mission is what your company does. Vision is where your company is going. And purpose, again, I can't say it often enough, is why your company exists. And I'll show you an example in a moment of kind of how these things ladder up and what it looks like. And social purpose, again, it's that North Star that gives direction and shape to the vision, to the mission, as well as its culture, strategy, branding. This is how it all comes together, the business architecture. And we often hear CEOs say that they're clear about their corporate strategy and the culture they want to create. And maybe they are, but having an explicitly stated social purpose that binds it all together and connects everything creates that cohesion and clarity for everyone. So imagine how when all of the business architecture you see here, all these components that a business uses to help the company function well, align up to why your business exists in the first place. It truly shapes an unstoppable growth company. And social purpose businesses differentiate their purpose from their vision, where they're headed, their mission, what the company does to realize its purpose every day, and its values, how they show up as they do it. And by doing all of that, it's incredibly important to embed social purpose in your long-term planning and your decision-making processes. It becomes that first lens that helps you immediately, efficiently weed out those opportunities that don't align and create that focus again for your organization. And when you use it in this way, I mean, the benefits, innovation, growth, competitive advantage, strong culture, all of these things begin to emerge and grow within your organization. More on that in a minute. Here's an example of how that business architecture works together to ladder up to social purpose. So this is Maple Leaf Foods. It's a protein food company. And an example of how this all fits together. Their purpose, as you can see, why they exist, is to raise the good in food. Interesting. What do you mean? That sounds great. Where they're headed, their vision is to be the most sustainable protein company on earth. That is a lofty vision. That is where they want to go. How are they going to win or accomplish this? Their mission is through these various practices like leading in sustainability, cultivating their people, making great products, broadening their reach, and eliminating waste, those other types of purpose. Their values aren't listed here, but they support everything and create a good purpose-driven culture and brand. So you can see how each of these things ladders up to create a strong business architecture that works together in alignment to raise the good in food. And also note how it doesn't bind them to any specific strategy like animal protein, but allows them to innovate in the area of good food and proteins. The possibilities are wide open for them as long as it all fits within this architecture. So enough about how it's different. I hope that cleared up some things if you were wondering. But why social purpose and why now? We're increasingly aware of the social and environmental pressures facing our society. We all feel it, we all read about it, we all know it, including economic inequality, social injustice, climate change. These things are threats to all of us. Stakeholders now expect businesses to take meaningful action to address these challenges. For example, investors are expecting companies in their portfolio to have a clear purpose driving their strategy and attracting the things it needs to be successful. Consumers, especially millennials and Gen Z or Z, are increasingly choosing brands that reflect their personal values. Same with employees. They're increasingly seeking meaning and alignment with their personal values in their work. These pressures are on. There's a shift towards stakeholder capitalism, which reflects a growing emphasis on prioritizing the needs of all of a business's stakeholders over only shareholders. And the emerging purpose economy calls for an economy driven by companies that thrive addressing social and environmental challenges through their purpose and core business activities. Social media. It has given consumers unprecedented visibility into corporate practices. Companies are being scrutinized for their social and environmental impact, and those that fail to live up to their stated values, to their purpose, face swift backlash. So all of this is really driving the transition to the social purpose business model. It's a model that solves societal problems by doing business instead of contributing to them, which is how people are viewing business today. It unlocks massive new economic value. New opportunities are revealed with a new mindset. You see things that you never saw before that a business can seize upon and provide to society as an offer and as a profit-making mechanism. The opportunities are huge right now in this. So while there's a lot of scary things going on, there's also a lot of opportunity to be found. And we're actually also seeing that this isn't just a flash in a pan. I've been at this about 9 years now, when it was barely a whisper. And now I can't even keep up with the articles that are written in the business literature and research about social purpose as the way of the future for business. Companies of every size, as you can see on this slide, and sector are becoming social purpose companies. In fact, according to research conducted by the Canadian Purpose Economy Project, 25 of the TSX 60, so almost half today, have adopted a social purpose. That's pretty impressive and impactful. So, as I've kind of been alluding to, what I believe the beauty of social purpose is that it's both good for a struggling society and planet, which is so important, and good for business. It is one of these true win-win scenarios, because by future-proofing our communities, you're also future-proofing your business. The business case, as you see here, is strong for purpose, and the evidence truly continues to build. So here you'll see the 6 main benefits. There are others, but these are the ones we see repeated over and over, that businesses experience as they integrate and activate their purpose. So employee engagement, I mentioned it earlier. Employees, especially the younger generations, but I always say not all, only, are looking for meaning in their work. Just punching a clock and getting a paycheck is not good enough. They want to know that in this huge chunk of their life, they are also, through their work, contributing to a better world. And in fact, this is the most common benefit we hear from social purpose business leaders, is this positive impact on employee attraction and retention and engagement. They attract, keep, and motivate the best and brightest through purpose. And in this time of talent shortage that I imagine many of you are feeling, it's a common business challenge. And the evidence shows that employees will choose a purpose company over one that isn't, even if it pays a bit less, because it aligns with their values. Customers, attracting is the same thing as with employees, attracting and retaining customers, building long-term brand affinity. Customers are voting with their wallets. We see this too. There's empirical evidence. They will choose to purchase from a company that aligns with their values and demonstrates they are working towards a better world through business than one that they feel is just motivated by profits. They will choose you, and they will, in fact, become your champions and ambassadors. And we all know how powerful peer-to-peer influence is these days. It's kind of the top of the pyramid of ways to influence behavior. And if you've got customers that love your company, you've got customers that are telling their friends. Stakeholder relationships, as I said earlier, there is no way, if you have a really powerful social purpose, that you can achieve it alone. So as you're now beginning to implement your purpose, you understand that you need to find the right partners, and partners that align with your objectives, with your purpose, with your goals, so that you can create these strong relationships over shared objectives that go beyond profits towards how are we together going to make the world a better place and produce and enable productive collaboration. This means your suppliers, if there's a supply chain issue, you've got a strong shared objective relationship with them. We heard actually during COVID from businesses that they were prioritized over the other companies that supplier supplied to because they wanted to continue helping that business succeed. So there's a lot of anecdotal and empirical evidence around this. You'll see as we move through that identifying your social purpose isn't just about picking a favorite cause or something you really care about as a person. Those are important and you can do those things. But when you're looking at social purpose for your business, you have to look at your operating context and consider what are the societal issues that are having a negative effect on our business that we might be able through our core competencies and assets to mitigate, or what are, if there were improvements in these areas in society or environment, that would strengthen our operating context. And that is the strategic approach to defining your purpose that then creates the context around you to be stronger so that you can flourish more within that. And then, of course, by doing this meaningfully, authentically, genuinely, and transparently, you will be increasing trust, which we know has been eroding greatly amongst business and many institutions these days. Innovation generation. I mean, you can imagine just hearing about all these benefits. You've got engaged employees that are excited to be at work, helping you achieve your social purpose. Your customers are out there singing your praises. Your relationships are opening up new avenues to innovate together. You have a new lens on your business that you've never had before. I always tell this story about, I've lived in my home for almost 10 years now and I have a dog. So I have to walk her every morning. And of course, in the morning, you're on a schedule. So I always walk the same route because I know how long it takes. I know who I'm going to run into, and I know I'm going to be at my computer on time. And one morning, I decided to walk the same route, the opposite direction. And I kid you not, I saw things after almost 10 years I never noticed before. And they had been there a while. They're covered in moss, they were rusty, they were aged. They had been there, but until I changed my perspective, I didn't see what was right in front of my face. And that is the same thing that having a social purpose lens will give to your business, to recognize opportunities and increase your resilience to adapt in an environment. And all of these things, I end with financial performance because I'm hoping you can see, and I'm sure you can, how all of these things contribute to enhanced financial performance, increased revenues, access to capital because of your enhanced financial performance and the resilience your business has. So as your company's social purpose comes to life in your strategy, products, operations, branding, you will begin to see enhanced brand reputation, customer loyalty, employee engagement, and long-term profitability. So, I mean, not only do we have evidence just from looking at purpose companies and their actions and what they're experiencing, but also in the literature, as I said, this slide just gives you a tiny snippet of the data behind the business case for becoming a social purpose business. There's a much more detailed business case linked to from the BC Chamber landing page for this series that you can access and refer to, and it includes all the references. But you can see here, big numbers, 64% of consumers buy brands based on their belief and values. 61% of employees say they choose, leave, avoid, or consider employers based on their values and beliefs. Companies with a strong purpose have outperformed the market by 5 to 7% a year. And a strong majority, 75% of executives of purpose companies say that the integration of purpose creates value in the short term as well as over the long run. So it has short-term, medium-term, long-term benefits. The evidence is strong. So actually, let's take a closer look at the business case for your company. Here on the slide, we have a tool to help you evaluate what the specifics are for your company, because every business faces somewhat unique challenges. However, I would say you will reap all of the business case benefits. They will be realized as you implement your purpose. And incidentally, as you work to define it, because you're going to be engaging with stakeholders and raising questions people just haven't thought of before, there are benefits to the business just by doing the exercise of defining your purpose. So the business case self-assessment worksheet helps you hone in on the issues that perhaps your business uniquely is faced with and help you pull out the key points for your company that will help you build enthusiasm and create buy-in, because the people within your company are going to see the value of purpose. So if you believe that purpose is essential for your company, clearly articulating its key benefits will help you make the case and bring others along. And of course, this needs to start with leadership. If leadership isn't bought in and behind this and committed to this and understands the business case and benefits and to achieve agreement to move forward, it's not going to work. So you need to make that case. As you know, business planning, you need to make the case for moving in a direction. So we have this worksheet. Please do download it from the BC Chamber landing page for this series and complete it before the next session and shortly after this session, so it's fresh in your mind. And it contains just a short sampling of things to stimulate reflection. It's not comprehensive, so feel free to also think about different ways that social purpose can help your business thrive. Quick example, we'll walk through one of the business benefits of social purpose for you to consider the questions to identify which are the strongest components of the business case for you. And again, complete the worksheet, there's more there, and that will help you build the case internally to bring people along within your organization. So let's look at attract, retain, and engage customers. We know from the business case literature that 83% of Canadian consumers want to buy brands that put as much priority on values as profit, and that actually 50% actively search for a brand's values before making a purchase. I'm one of those people. So if you were able to demonstrate an alignment of values through your purpose with your customer base, would it help solve some of the issues you see on this slide? Would you align with their values? Are you afraid, or have you been critiqued on social media? Will it help you differentiate from the competition? Meet evolving customer expectations, they are evolving, and appeal to younger generations, attract and retain customers. Like, think about it. Are your customer acquisition costs just going up and up and up. And once you complete it, the worksheet, for all 6 aspects of the business case, you'll identify which ones will have the most benefit for your company. And if you don't have the answers to some of these questions, talk to your peers. They'll know, they'll be able to tell you, and it'll be a great way to collaborate and communicate across functions. Okay, now for a few more, slightly more in-depth case study vignettes that illustrate how some companies are activating their social purpose. So here's Unilever again, global consumer goods company. And as I said earlier, their story begins in the late 19th century, and through partnerships, brand innovation, industry firsts, they grew into the huge purpose-led company that is Unilever today. So again, their original purpose was to make washing with soap widespread, commonplace. And they focused on making hand hygiene commonplace, thus reducing many preventable infectious diseases. So it wasn't just about selling soap. Of course, they wanted to sell soap, but because they knew that if people washed their hands with soap, their health would improve, population health would improve. So today is a house of brands. They have about 400 brands. Unilever has that singular purpose to make sustainable living commonplace and has tasked, its top brands and categories with adopting a market-facing social purpose that ladders up to this global purpose. So for instance, with their beauty and personal care products, they commit to being the most positive beauty business in the world for people and planet. You may have seen some of their ads. Food and refreshments, they aim to be a world-class force for good in food. Their home care products, I love this one, another clever turn of phrase. They stand for making people's homes a better world and our world a better home. Notably, Unilever's top performing brands have a social purpose, and that then align up to and ladder up to the global purpose here to make sustainable living commonplace, and this is fueling their growth. Cooperators is an insurance company whose purpose is to build financial security for Canadians and our communities. In many ways, they're enacting this, but in one way, they're embedding this purpose in their products. So for example, their insurance products offer protection against emerging risks, such as climate-related risks like flooding, as many of us are very familiar with. In fact, in 2024, they launched a new home and farm property insurance product called Tomorrow Strong that adds coverage at no extra cost for insured losses to help cover the cost of upgrades to protect against extreme weather, such as resilient roofing, hurricane straps, and water protection. So as you can see, that helps their customer. It helps reduce future claims, both of which is good for Cooperators' business. Algoma Steel, a Canadian steel manufacturing company. Now we all know that in the conceivable future, we will need steel to build the infrastructure that facilitates human thriving. So Algoma created a purpose to build better lives and greener futures. And that has led them to transforming every area of their business in terms of strategy, operations, processes, and culture. So one way they're bringing this purpose to life is they're switching to greener steel production, moving from using blast furnaces powered by fossil fuels over to electric-powered steelmaking, cutting their carbon emissions by 70% per year. And Nike has previously seen their purpose is to move the world forward through the power of sport. They're doing this in many ways, and one way they're activating on their purpose is that Nike has been pursuing play equity, aiming to provide access to sport for all, regardless of socioeconomic background. Sports can be expensive, and they've partnered with organizations that work to make sport accessible to youth in underserved communities. Nike believes that everyone should have the chance to experience the power of sport, which can build leadership, teamwork, resilience, and better health. So, by increasing access, especially for marginalized groups, Nike is using sport, their specialty, as a tool for empowerment and positive change, while aligning with consumer values and trends, building brand loyalty, and ultimately expanding the market and supporting new consumer segments. Everybody wins. So I hope by this point, why becoming a purpose company is becoming clear. And at this time of economic challenge, pandemic recovery, environmental emergency around the world, people are calling on all sectors of the economy to contribute to the health and well-being across our society. This goes beyond GDP. Thriving must be defined by human wellness, by planetary wellness. And many are looking to business to take meaningful action and lead the way in addressing these pressing challenges. So I want to tell you about one initiative that I'm involved with, the Canadian Purpose Economy Project, that is focused on fostering a new economy driven by social purpose, enabling businesses to align their operations with the needs of society and the environment. There are other similar efforts by different names around the world. It's not isolated to Canada, it's global, in the UK, Australia, the Netherlands, and more. And CPEP, the Canadian Purpose Economy Project, we call it CPEP, began to take shape in early 2020, convening, connecting, and collaborating to promote the uptake of social purpose action across the economy. And through all of the consultation and convening, CPEP identified 10 levers within the business ecosystem that, when activated to promote social purpose, would accelerate a transition to a purpose economy, which they define as an economy powered by the pursuit of long-term well-being for all, in which business and regulatory and financial systems foster an equitable, flourishing, resilient future. And they believe that if 25% of Canadian businesses adopt, disclose, and embed a social purpose by 2030, we will have reached the tipping point. And this will become the new normal in business, and a purpose economy, true purpose economy, will be born. So they are truly building a movement, and some of the most prominent CEOs in Canada have signed on and issued an invitation to more CEOs and peers to sign on to build a Canadian purpose economy by joining a call to purpose. So just this one example, I hope, demonstrates that social purpose is a true movement in Canada and around the world. Here's some initiatives going on internationally. There is a existing PAS, which is a publicly available specification. So it's kind of a precursor to an ISO standard. It's a fast-track standardization document, the result of expert consultation services from the British Standards Institute. And this PAS 808 2022, so it was released in 2022, empowers organizations to embrace purpose-driven practices, address global challenges, and take accountability for sustainable success. And now, currently underway, ISO, the International Standards Organization, is now developing a new standard building off of that PAS to become an ISO 37011 purpose-driven organizations. So coming soon, you can be certified, ISO certified as a purpose-driven organization. Existing already is B Corp, which you may be familiar with, but underway with B Corp, which is a global movement that has certified more than 8,000 companies who demonstrably address their ESG, environment, social governance impacts. Their B Corp is revisiting its standards, as it does routinely, and is adding in a prerequisite to certifying that the company has a defined public purpose contributing to a material positive impact on society and the environment. a social purpose, in effect, requirement. So soon, to become a B Corp or to recertify as a B Corp, you must have a clearly stated social purpose, objective, and purpose. Okay, let's recap this session. There was a lot going on. And also let's review what you can do between now and the next session to further the social purpose discussion within your organization. So as we know, this session's focus was educate. Right now we're educating you, but we're also equipping you with valuable insights, knowledge, and a tool that you can use and share with others in your organization to help bring them along and create buy-in to pursue purpose. Because hopefully by now, the reasons to do this are compelling and you can see the future good that will come to your business and to society if you adopt a social purpose. So we covered, again, why we're doing this. We really hope to inspire more companies to become social purpose and give you the resources to do so that they and their communities experience the benefits. Again, this is a win-win. This is good for everybody. We did a deep dive into what social purpose is and isn't, and how it relates to and informs or guides the other things like it that you've heard about, that you already have, that are commonly known, such as CSR, corporate social responsibility, ESG, environment, social governance, and being B Corp certified. Because knowing the difference really can help you explain how purpose sits atop, remember that business architecture, and underpins all of the other good things that don't necessarily go away. They're just enhanced and aligned and focused towards your purpose. Your purpose leads your organization by why you are doing everything you do in the first place. And then everything falls out from there, creating that powerful focus and alignment throughout your organization. We talked about how your purpose is the North Star that helps you determine where you're going, your vision, what you will do to get there, how you get there, your mission, and the way that you show up as you do it, your values. Again, these things are important to be clear on, and they should align and ladder up to your purpose. Otherwise, it's a mishmash and it's not serving your organization. How purpose serves as that new perspective, right? Changing the direction, you see new things, and a decision lens that drives innovation, growth, competitive advantage by embedding focus and alignment into your organization and your strategy. We looked at briefly, because we're all experiencing it, what's going on in the world and within the business ecosystem that's making social purpose more relevant and important than ever before. We reviewed the business case, the top 6, but there are more for social purpose. And we talked about really evaluating which aspects are most meaningful for your business. What's going to build the case and the buy-in and the enthusiasm internally for you to proceed with becoming a social purpose business? Just to give you an idea of what it looks like and how it's activated out there in the real world, we looked at some case study vignettes of purpose and practice from around the world. And we talked about how social purpose is becoming a true movement in Canada and globally. Now is the time. This is not slowing down, it's only accelerating. And as with any business innovation that emerges, that becomes essential to the future of business, getting on board at the beginning is a competitive advantage and sets you up as a leader in your industry and in the business world on the leading trend that is going forward and becoming a movement. So if you've decided that pursuing a social purpose for your organization is an essential benefit, your next steps to take with what you've learned here are to take what you've learned, educate your senior leaders if they're not here today on social purpose, and gain agreement to proceed. Again, you need your senior leaders bought in and committed. Agree on the business case. So take that worksheet and create the rationale, consult with others, get their input. That also increases buy-in, and review the big business case to see all of the statistics and details on why social purpose is good for business. Update your staff. Take it to a all staff meeting or a all employees meeting, or do a road show to different teams and talk about purpose and hear them out and inform them what it is and understand what they think about it, so that you can move forward with a clear picture of where your organization is at and what you need to do. And finally, before the next session, encourage you to recruit a social purpose steering committee or advisory group. And we recommend it be cross-functional, because you need perspectives from the whole organization, because this is not the responsibility of one group. It is core to the whole business. And look to only the enthusiastic. Now is a time where you're going to need champions and their perspectives to help you advance social purpose in your business. So next session, we will cover the research step of the roadmap to becoming a social purpose business. So we're going to give you the guidance and tools to help you hone in on the key information you need to gather to inform the development of your authentic social purpose statement, and you're going to seek input from both internal and external sources. And we're going to help you match up who you are as a business, what you bring to the world, with the societal issue that you can have the optimal impact upon. So not just random ad hoc good stuff, which is good stuff, but the optimal impact you can have as a full business, optimizing everything you bring to the world. And we'll give you some tools, some other tools to help you action what you learned during that session. So we really look forward to seeing you there, and hope you do attend, and hope you do commit to becoming a social purpose business. This is the end of the session recording. We thank you so much for being here. I encourage you to consider adding your company to the growing number of businesses embracing the social purpose business movement.